Yo, what is going on, you guys? Bastion Waggio here, and today I'm here with my boy Rob. Say hi to those people at home, Rob.
Hello, people at home that did not go to YCS Philly.
I know, that super sucks for them, right?
Yeah,
no, but today, guys, we are actually going to be covering a bit of the ban list discussion, right? So we already reacted to the ban list that was uploaded yesterday for you guys. If you guys not check it out, make sure you guys do. Card will be up in one of these corners, one of them.
Probably this one.
But today we're going to be going over some of the winners and some of the losers from the June 2023 ban list. Now, we do have quite a long list because this list hit everything. This list hit absolutely everything, even stuff that did not even need to get hit. They're like, you know what? Let's hit it.
Let's hit it anyways.
Let's hit it anyways, or let's release it. So, Rob, before we get fully into it, what was your initial impression when you first saw this? I mean, the people here on the channel, they saw mine, me freaking out. The only card I knew was Diabolosis, which of course we all saw it coming. But yeah. give us your initial reaction when you saw this list.
My exact words were, "Why the bleep did they hit Purrely and Super Heavy?" Those were my exact reactions. Because when I saw the list, I think Sebastian texted it to me. Or no, I started getting like a bunch of Discord notifications, like from like different just like Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
I text you like 5 minutes late.
Huh?
I think I text you like 5 minutes late.
Yeah, like 5 minutes after. You're just like, bad list, and I looked and I'm like, why did they hit Purrely and Super Heavy so soon? Like, I would see these hits down the line, but it made no sense to do them so preemptively. Like, let the decks be good. Like, you know what I mean? Don't hit the decks, and now they're just not playable. Like, that was just like kind of a waste. But other than that, I love everything about this list. I like that they did touch Super Heavy. I like that they touched everything. What in contrast to what I just said, I like that they hit everything. Like, there was no every deck that's playable got some form of like limit or semi-limit or ban.
Yeah,
which
some
is nice.
More than others.
Some definitely more than others, but like everything got addressed in some degree, which I think is cool. Which I personally like that. Versus, let's say they just did all the hits, but none of the what's it called? So, like, let's say they left Kashtira perfectly fine, which they kind of did, but they killed, let's say, like the other sleeper decks, like if they killed like Brandon or something.
Yeah.
But I think I'm a really big fan of this list. But like, I'll complain about the Purrely stuff, but like I think I'll take it because like if this list was if this list was like different, there's a chance for like Kashtira to be more playable, which I still think it's arguably the best deck, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue. I mean, essentially, I think we can agree on it's a similar train of thought when it comes to, I mean, overall hitting everything. I mean, you and I both are on the same page when it comes to preemptively hitting Super Heavy Samurai and Purrely, because it makes both those decks essentially virtually unplayable. Virtually, because the decks are still very much playable. Like, you can definitely still take them to events, things like that. But comparison to what it was before the ban list, it's literally a night and day difference, especially Super Heavy Samurai. I mean, Purrely, they can still search out the delicious memory card, so you can still go ahead and use it. But Super Heavy Samurai, I think taking the loss to the Scarecrow just really hurts the consistency of the deck, because now you don't get 2 searches on your opening turn, and on top of that, you also don't get the additional body on board to use with your Peacekeeper or Peacemaker to get special summon Scales turn 1 post the Baron summon. So that takes out a huge part of your combo, which I have a deck profile for Super Heavy. Don't let this distract you. I do have the spice. I do have the sauce coming for you guys. But yeah, so let's go ahead and we'll go down the line, right? We'll go from best deck that was hit to we can argue about it, but you know, to the worst deck that was hit. So let's go ahead and talk about Kashtira first, right? So Kashtira, of course, we got Diabolosis hit limited. We got Arise Heart limited. Diabolosis Forbidden, Arise Heart limited. I believe there was another hit. Did I miss one?
It was Unicorn to 2.
Unicorn 2. Okay.
Unicorn to 2.
So the deck is still very much playable. Like, I thought if anything they would have hit potentially like Kashtira Birth, which is a big issue that I think with the deck, but as you mentioned earlier, it takes a lot of what the deck can do turn 1, right? So going forward, how do you think Kashtira is going to look like moving forward?
I think it's going to be more. Well, obviously you can't do zone lock combos anymore. Like most of your locking 9 or 4+ zones involve using Diabolos with Shangri-Ira, but the only card that lets you proactively banish cards face down in the Kashtira deck now is Rise Heart, the level 4. But that's only one banish, maybe 2. So you don't really have that consistent way to go lock multiple zones. So I think it's just going to be a Rise Heart pass like it has been for a while, with hand traps and like more. Now it's more Zodiac. Now it's more of that. Rise Heart's the Trident, set Imperm, have Ash, and let's say Ash Impermanent set, and like you have follow up in hand. I don't think the deck will do a lot of the deck can't do any of the zone locking anymore. So I think it's just gonna be more simple. Summon a Rise Heart, don't play into Nib, don't play into Nib, and you just like play.
But do you think that would be a little bit too reliant on a Rise Heart, considering a Rise Heart is a one of now, due to the ban list? Like, let's say, for example, that becomes the meta. And then, of course, Winter Cherries, I think, starts to start to become into the mix, where now it's a lot more viable. Before it was being played, I didn't really understand it. Now I think Winter Cherries has a much better place in the format. But let's talk about continuing with the Kashtira. In case you got the Kashtira, you summon out Fenrir, they go, okay, cool, chain, activate Winter Cherries, reveal a Rise Heart. Then it kind of gets rid of the entire play. So what would be like the backup plan for Kashtira? Just sit on a Fenrir and a Unicorn?
Well, no, because you can always do like Shangri-Ira, and then the Shangri-Ira is usually like a really well, especially if like Fenrir and other cards like interact with, or like other hand traps. Your Shangri-Ira sticks to the following turn most of the time. Like if you end on Shangri-Ira, Imperm, Ash, and let's say Birth, and just throw those out there, the odds of your opponent breaking your entire board is usually either 0 or very hard. Like the Shangri-Ira is what ends up sticking most of the time. So if the deck, I feel like going first, you go a Rise Heart, but every time you go second, it's just a Zeus deck. I think you just find different ways to like make Zeus in your combo. There might be lines, like I remember someone from NYC, I think Daniel, a guy I know, he got top 64 at the last YCS, the 250th, with Punk Kashtira. So I don't know if like another combo variant like that might be more popular, where you can just play less of the actual Kashtira cards, and you play like the Punk engine as like a supplementary engine that like either makes Baron, or just makes Baron, Psychic, and Punisher, or just gives additional line of play. You also have like the Swordsoul Kashtira deck, which I don't think is that good, but it's still another way to play the engine. No, because I tried it for a little, the Kashtira Swordsoul deck for a little bit. The problem was the Swordsoul cards and the Kashtira cards have no like synergy, but they are engines that can work together. Like there's no with the like if you're able to, let's say, special Unicorn and resolve a Moye, you can then make Baron before you activate the Unicorn. So if they Nibiru you just bird summon back Unicorn and end on a Rise. But there's no synergy directly between the Kashtira and the Swordsoul cards, which is I feel like another solid winner after this list, but we'll talk about that next. But I don't know if Kashtira as a pure deck is going to start straying away, or people are going to try more of these like hybrid Kashtira variants as a way to supplement like the random hits.
Yeah, I think it's tough to say exactly how the deck will come out, because I think Kashtira itself is so versatile. The fact that it doesn't need to normal summon to go off in its place makes it so that it can go off with a whole bunch of different archetypes that do require, or that very much need the normal summon in order to go off. Example, like as you just said, Swordsoul and the Kashtira, I think it would be an interesting matchup to go ahead and view. I think overall across all the hits that were made, it brought everything down a tier, but it didn't bring it down like an uneven. It literally has is the exact same format tier list. It's just down one.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you still have the same that it's kind of like you removed Syak. Yeah. It's kind of like you just removed Syak from the equation, which is the only thing I don't like. but they like you still have Kashtira, Despia, Spright, which is another that's another deck that got I think rewarded from the list because all it got hit was starter. As long as blue didn't get hit, that deck was still playable. So that's another good deck. If we want to transition to talking about Spright, that since you have the one Arise Heart, if you are able to deal with it, the Spright deck can either just thrust it and make Zeus, mind control it. Like Spright has the ability to play a lot of these cool utility cards, like Power Spell Spright. It was playing like Econ, Mind Control, Dark Ruler, stuff like that. So that's another deck that can be start seeing play again. It's not. But the problem is, I don't think it's as good as Kashtira right now. I think once people start tinkering with different cards and techs that weren't really being thought of, once people start innovating that, because the thing about Spright and a lot of the decks right now, there's a lot of adaptability, right? So you have Kashtira, which is that can be played as an engine, but also a core. The same thing with the Spright deck. If you have there's the Brave Spright deck, the Tri-Brigade Spright deck, the Mouthy Spright deck. There's different ways to play Spright. So once you have a consolidated way people are playing Kashtira, you can then just build your Spright deck around
accordingly.
Build it accordingly. Yeah. If people start playing a Rise Heart Pass, you can start doing power spells, because power spells deal with the Rise Heart pretty well. Doing Dark Ruler, Regeki, Mind Control, Econ, stuff like that are really strong to a Rise Heart. And then since they didn't hit Zeus, which is something I thought they would have done, you can then just make Zeus onto it, which I think is really strong.
No, I think you're definitely right. I think that Zeus, before we'd play Zeus at more than one because we didn't want it to get banished. Now I believe that Spright, especially because they can go into rank 2 so easily, right? Whether it be Cat Shark or Gin Buster or the Mosquito card, right? Because they can go into rank 2 so easily, I don't see why as a Spright player you wouldn't play minimum of 2 Zeus.
Yeah.
Right, because in every single deck now, especially against the top tier decks, and except for branded, right, Zeus is an absolute blowout of a card, especially against let's take one of the crippled decks that we've been talking about, right, Super Heavy, right? Because it lost a lot of the power and searchability that it has. Use Zeus that board at the right time, it's game over for them.
Yep.
And same thing with Kashtira, and same thing with all that. So I think might be shifting into a Zeus format. I know Purrely, especially when I was playing against you and you slapped me up 5 times in a row. But we don't talk about that here. A lot of your plays ended on the Nor, right?
Or Zeus.
Plus a Zeus or a Zeus with 7 or 8 materials.
Yeah. So in my testing with Purrely, I played a local last week with Purrely. I went 4-1. And the only game I lost was just it was a shit show. Oh, so when I played that locals with Purrely, a lot of my games I going second would just be Zeus the deck. The deck is that Purrely deck was super strong at making a very big Zeus. I remember a lot of lists that I was looking into trying to figure out the list that I liked the best. A lot of people were just 2 Zeus because of Kashtira, 2 Zeus because of Kashtira. You will summon 2 Zeuses no matter what you play against. Because once they kill the first one, you do not win the game, which sometimes that deck has a hard time doing, especially when you're playing Zeus control, they are going to die, or they're not going to die. So you make another Zeus. There's a lot of times where you end on a Zeus with 1 material you can't use because you end on an odd number, and then you slap the Zeus on top of that Zeus. There was one session I did of testing where 3 Zeus comes up. That card is just super strong, and I think until we get the new support in Duelist Nexus, Purrely is just going to be a very good Zeus deck. But I don't think it can do it can't consistently do the Noir anymore, which is why I think it's more of the losers from the list compared to a Kashtira, mainly because now the deck. So the problem with Purrely is that there is no card that searches you one specific card or searches you one of the specific quick plays. You have
3 of those, right?
Yeah, you only can search it. So the best way to paraphrase it is Purrely only has pantheisms. It doesn't have tenacity. if you played the Monarch deck, you have Pantheism, which is you banish it and reveal 3 Monarch spells or traps, add 1 to your hand. Then you have Tenacity, which is reveal a Monarch, search a Monarch spell or trap. So you have the My Friend Purrely, which searches you 1 of 3, but it's random.
Yeah.
And then you have Purrely, which searches you reveals the top 3, but it's random. And then so you don't have a consistent way to get to Delicious. Like, the deck by itself sometimes couldn't get Delicious. Like, if your My Friend got hand trap, there was no guarantee you were gonna end on Noir. So you wanted to play as many as possible, so you always had the potential to get to it. I feel like just
I think the deck can evolve in that way, no. So there's no direct way to search it, right? So I think with that being said, Purrely being already a very spell heavy deck, I think it would have to rely on gimmick cards. Gimmick cards, I mean cards, of course, not standard, not something that we see. It's well, for lack of better phrasing, very gimmicky, right? Triple Tactics Thrust could be one that could search you Foolish Burial Goods, activate Foolish Burial Goods, send the Delicious, and then you have it in your graveyard easily accessible. Is it a long line? Yes. Is it hand trappable in multiple different ways? Yes, also. But you gotta do what you gotta do to be able to get this card, right? I mean, without Plump on the board, it really diminishes what the deck can really do, I believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, Plump is the best of the level 2s currently. Like, Happiness is very good when you're going, because Happiness going second lets you make like a very big Zeus or make a very big Noir. And Beauty has the best quick play effect, because Plump isn't attached to Beauty is attack 1,000 times. Oh, I'm sorry, Happiness is attack 1,000 times, but Beauty is the effect negator. So it's the second best one to end on, or it's the best one to end on by itself. But Plump, with being able to make Noir, if you have like Plump Leap, is just insanity, because you make a million attack material in Noir, and then you get to leap into the Noir. So you basically just get into the deck. Just lost a consistent way to get to the Plump, because before. So the main thing is, if you play cards like Foolish Burial Goods, which is something I thought about when the deck first came out, playing like Foolish Burial Goods and Metal Fist Fusion versus playing like an actual discard engine, because they were spells that you could attach to the Plump. But the problem is that plays into DD Crow terribly. Yeah. Like, if you DD Crow the one Delicious, you are screwed. That's why like one of the optimal ways of playing around it was going Purrely or Delicious, or Purrely hits Delicious, or your My Friend searches Delicious, and then you Purrely and the light Purrely. I was about to say level 1 Purrely. The light Purrely reveals the Delicious. That's how you make Plump. You play around DD Crow. Mm-hmm. Also, Lily is a hard one per turn. So if they imperm your Lily, you are cooked, because that means you just can't. And the one Delicious in your grave, you are cooked, because that means you cannot make Plump anymore. Which I think that's just like not. I think that deck is not very feasible until we get the Duelist Nexus support, which sucks. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I think is really bad, until it gets probably another way of support, is the Mathmech deck. I didn't think that deck was very good to begin with, but it was OTKing the hell out of people. But hitting circular...
Mathmech was a good deck.
I personally haven't played against it. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I never looked at Mathmech and said this is a top 3 deck. I looked at it as like it's top. Like, I've always put Mathmech in the top 5, but it was usually like 4th or 5th. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I never really went like, oh, like even when Pote dropped, like Mathmech was like the 4th most talked about deck, because it was Spright, Tearlament, Despia, and Exorcister.
Man, that's definitely part of its success, though, because it's so not talked about, because it's so undervalued or under.
It's undervalued because the deck, like, it's basically the modern day Salamangreat, where you end on the trap, their revolt, and you end on their revolt. Yeah, you end on their revolt, and then you end on the Heat Soul, which lets you draw. But the thing that deck has that it takes advantage of is having Update Jammer access code, where you just attack twice for 10,000 damage. So sometimes against that deck, you just die. Especially since Mathmech is a deck that not a lot of people know what the cards do. So where you just don't think about it, and they go 2 monsters, make update Splash Mage, summon a third, make a transcode summon another, make Update Jammer somehow, make access code, attack for 10,000. Like, but that and the Runick deck, I think were just like they were trying their best, and then they just got absolutely clipped. So that sucks to see, because like the Naturia deck was like actually like really cool in concept. Just like the having the discard, I feel like it was the best Runick deck besides Spright Runick with 3 health. Because you get to make Beast and Barkion, you get to make them where they consistently come back. It's the deck is just like, or then you also have like Baron and Coral Dragon lines. Like that deck was super cool to like see being played. So them hitting the trap, I feel like it sucked. But like again, I think they're just like addressing everything, whether it's in equal levels or not. Yeah. They are addressing like everything, which is nice.
Yeah. No, I mean definitely. I think what the issue with the Naturia Runick deck is that it had similar to the super heavy samurai deck. It could just continue just searching whatever it needed by sending the sacred tree. It had so much recursion, and that's what gave it a big aspect of its consistency. Now, as far as the Runick stuff, I mean, it's a very, very light slap on the wrist with semi-limiting the Runick Fountain, because no one plays more than 2 really. I mean, not even when Mystic Mine was still a thing, where you playing 3 copies of Runick Fountain, right? So that didn't really change much for the deck, but I think getting rid of the Sacred Tree just again ruins the consistency, ruins the turn 1 play that the deck can make. And I'm not sure if that's what Konami's trying to do to make the games end a little quicker, or what the deal with that is. But I mean that might also be the case. But I mean, it's taking away a lot of the grind from what the decks are able to do or should be able to do with that. No, I mean Naturia Runick, I think all these would be we could all argue our top 5 decks. I mean, all considered, even with Mathmech and Naturia Runick, which I think are the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the top 5-6 decks of the format. But I mean, still formidable enough that you have to respect them, you know. Now a deck that I know for sure got a big win off the ban list, I think Branded, because even though it was Expulsion, right? That's the one that got banned.
They only hit Expulsion, they hit nothing else.
Yeah, like everything else still at 3. Everything else they can go full combo. Like, oh no, you lost 1, but they can still summon out gimmick puppet another way, right?
Yeah, they do it through the new fusion, the Albion, the secret from the new set. Yeah, but it's harder to make that and also like set up gimmick puppet, which is like, I guess they're people's ideas. Mainly because like, so the thing about Branded was that there was always different cards you can summon off of Expulsion that like floodgate you. Like the original one was Raw's Disciple. Like people played Raw's Disciple for the longest, and then I think it was the 3v3. People were like, the gimmick puppet card is just way better, so it makes more sense to play the gimmick puppet.
Don't forget about DD Orthros.
DD Orthros.
I guess respect my DDD players.
Yes, DD, the DDD guy. But so you can still set up an Expulsion-esque lock, but it's just harder to do versus just resolving an Albion and basically resolving Branded Fusion gave you Expulsion. Yeah. Or gave you a gimmick puppet lock, which is like, I think other than that, like the actual like Branded end board is really strong, and like the new Quem is a very like strong utility card. Between like being a recursion, it's technically a branded card, so you can summon off Branded Opening, so it gives you another good card to summon off Branded Opening for your hands where you already have like Branded Fusion and Branded Lost. So I think that deck is like, but the problem that deck will always have is when they activate Branded Fusion, if they hit you with the forehead, it's over. If they match the Branded Fusion, you will pass every single time without fail. You will pass on Branded Fusion. Huh? You just like, you go next. Like, so like that's the one problem the Branded deck has, is that no matter how much support they've been giving it, nothing beats Ash unbranded fusion. So I think that deck is still going to see play. I don't think it's going to be the best deck. I think it's going to be another deck that just like is being in the room. And another deck that I think like that's going to be like that, Sebastian, my Trickstars, Swordsoul is playable still. There's new combos with Moye now, so that's going to be something probably people are going to tinker with. I was talking to Sebastian before we got on the call, or before we started recording, where it was just like, all right, how can we abuse Denglong? How can we abuse
what a smooth yet scummy way to flex your 3 Denglong on camera.
Yo, I'm a genius, right? I'm a thinker man right here. Fun fact, I actually bought these like 3 years ago, and I've just been waiting. I think this is less for Swordsoul and more for Dinos, because I know this was like a popular card in Dinos back in the day. So I think people are just like, you have Wild Survivors, so people are gonna try to do Dino Denglong combos, which might be a thing.
It might be a thing, but it's the biggest thing in like in True King Dino. So we would need Diagram to come back to more than one to make the deck relevant, and then we would need more than one Miscellaneous Saurus, because you need the Miscellaneous Saurus to get into. I think the tuner that we used was Jirake Yolo. So you banish special summon the level 1 Jirake Yolo, go into Denglong, search your True Kings, which are all worms, right?
Yeah.
And then you make it a level 9, and you go into the True King of all calamities. I think that's what if I remember correctly, that's the main reason why Denglong went to hell. So with all those other cards still on the ban list in some way, I don't think it'll be nearly as broken, but I think it does open up a lot more potential synchro lines, maybe some more True King shenanigans. We'll see though. I mean, Dinos is and Swordsoul, I think, is arguably one of the biggest winners of the ban list. But speaking about winners, Rob, there's a deck that won't die. Konami will not allow it to die.
Engage the Sky Striker deck.
Gauge and Gage to 2 and multi-roll to 3. Hello?
That is very spooky for me. As someone that's lived through TOS format and that's played many more games of Sky Striker than they care to admit, because when I started playing like super competitively, my second deck I played like crazy was Sky Striker, and oh my god, I hated playing that deck, but it was just so good, So I feel like it's in a very similar position now to where I just hear my phone popping off.
Popular guy.
It's probably my friends being like, "Where the hell are you?"
Shut up.
What's it called? But yeah. So that deck is very spooky, especially because you have 3 Kagari, 2 Engage, 3 help me out here, 3 multi-roll, and there's a lot stronger spells than there was in 2019. Thrust, regular talent, Change of Hearts back. You have
Mind
Control, Prosperity. Like the Striker deck, I think, is the deck that got the most out of the list. But I also think that like there's a lot of like decks that played the Striker deck or Striker cards as an engine that might be also playable. So like very randomly, like the ABC Therion deck, that was like there was a way you could play Engage and stuff. Like there was a list that for a while played like Striker cards. You can play 2 Engage. Like it's not 1 Engage was like funny, but now you can play 2 Engage.
It's funny.
And it's like because like 1 Engage is like I'll play 1 Engage, 1 Hornet Drone, 1 Widow Anchor. Like that's But now it's like 2 Engage, and that's spooky because you have so it's the same thing. It's all the power spell. But more as Striker as a whole, and especially because now you have Linkage, you have the OTK card. That I just feel like that deck is very, very sleeper, and I think it's probably going to be the best rogue deck, one of the better rogue decks, if not like a tier like 1.5, 1.25 kind of deck, where it's just like this deck is strong. Another deck that went unhit was Labrynth, just because I don't want to like not talk about that deck. That was another deck, but like that deck is actually like, if you look at like some of the national results, there's like a decent amount of Labrynth between the furniture build and like
that's fair.
The Floodgate build. and they didn't hit any floodgates. They didn't give any utility.
Well, what
to,
what are you really gonna hit in the Labrynth deck? You gonna hit Skill Drain? No.
Hell yeah.
Why?
Hell yeah. Because like those cards aren't fun, Sebastian. When you're on the other side of the skill drain, it's not fun.
I bet. No, there was a. It's funny that we mentioned Skill Drain because I saw this this guy. I forgot if it was a topping regional or something, and he was playing 3 Skill Drain in Super Heavy. So he would just flip it.
Big guy attack?
And yeah, just go real unga bunga and roll just real big monsters and just start swinging. I was like, that's interesting. I don't agree with it, but that's interesting.
It's like how Eldritch was. Like, Skill Drain was good in Eldritch, not because the guys didn't have effects. It was because Gold Mode was 35 most of the time. You just swung infinitely.
Swing.
Yeah. There's a lot of cards that are neither winners or losers. They just kind of don't matter. Like Birdman doesn't matter. Bruce's or Spiral Quick Fix doesn't matter.
Need Master Plan.
Master Plan came back?
I said they need Master Plan. They can't.
A
Quick Fix is not going to do anything.
Yeah. Birdman didn't matter. The Blackwing card didn't matter. Blaster didn't matter.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you there, my friend.
What, the Blaster?
No. The Blaster, yeah, it doesn't matter. All Dragon Rulers can come back to 3. That's fine. But Blackwing Steam the Cloak is a token generator. Yes?
Oh.
No, don't do that. There's a reason Konami got rid of all the token generators. Someone, somewhere, with a very brilliant mind is going to find a way to break this. It's not going to be me. But somebody who knows what they're doing, again, not me, they're going to figure it out.
Well,
it's going to be busted.
Steam the Cloak got hurt because of the, what's it called? Because of fiber, not because of the token. But I get what you're saying, whereas, like, that's a one card link too, but I get what your theory. We just don't have the brain power.
1 + 2.
1 + 2 = 2.
1 + 2.
And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes 1 + 1 = 4. So I understand. I understand where you're.
Math,
you're
damn it.
Huh?
I said math, damn it.
Yu-Gi-Oh math.
Yu-Gi-Oh math. This makes sense.
Yu-Gi-Oh math. What else? We forgot about the Cyber Stein hit. That was just like.
I mean.
That was for what? That was super heavy, right?
That was super heavy, and then I know some Spright players. I tried it out for a little bit. I'm guilty. Some Spright players played it. Shut up. Just because it was funny. No, but I mean, Cyber Stein is just such a broken card. I just don't think it can ever come off the ban list, because someone's gonna find a way to abuse it. Like Super Heavy was so consistent, you could abuse this card. You just go regular combo, and you put up 3 negates or two Omni negates before you even summon Cyberstein. Activate Cyberstein, get Naturia Exterio, and you're good.
True.
So it's like
oh yeah. Plus, I remember the Gamma. I forgot about Gamma being hit.
Oh yeah,
just being another like win for Kashtira, because that was like the best card into a Rise Hardened D shifter.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, no, Gamma was nuts. I never expected for it to get hit though. Never. I never expected, and then I know for a fact Cyframe players are like doing the Arthur
right
fist,
now.
Like damn.
Not the best card in our deck. I feel like this card kind of sucks in pure Cyframe too.
Yeah.
But no, I think I'm very excited for what the format's going to end up being once. Yeah. Because this is our WCQ list, like for NA. This is our WCQ list, so I'm very curious as to what's going to be prevalent or what's going to be relevant. Especially because our WCQ is, I think, like a few weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks before Duelist Nexus, so you don't have the Purrely support. But they can probably maybe do some give, let's say, World Winner cards in the Monstrous Revenge, I believe it is, the set that comes out in June.
Yeah, we're getting like 2 or 3 sets in June, right? Or like within the next few weeks.
I know we're getting Monstrous Revenge. We might be getting the Jack Atlas deck, the Resonator deck. I don't think probably.
I wonder if Vanquish Soul is going to do anything here. I know it's real big in the OCG.
It might. I think.
Well, with this list, yeah, it might.
With this list, anything is possible. Or maybe just like someone wins with Mojang 2 years in a row. That'd be great.
That's gonna be
no, not me. Please.
You got the max rarity Swordsoul, and now everyone knows.
It's not on. The deck isn't on camera. Sebastian is coping.
True.
Sebastian. There's no actual proof. It's just Sebastian's word. Let me see here, just for sets in June, really quick. Monstrous Revenge, Wild Survivors. What else do we have? Do we have any structures? We have the Crimson King deck that comes out in. Oh wait, no, it comes out in September.
I haven't seen any of those cards. I don't know if it's gonna be any good.
I think like the Trap. No, it's not the Trap. There's like one okay card, but yeah, no, I'm very excited to see what's going to be coming in the next few days. I'm kind of disappointed that like the information from YCS Philly is just like useless now, because it's just going to be like either Kashtira wins and it didn't matter, or cold text people are hiding in Purrely aren't really going to matter as much. Right. Maybe people play Purrely because there's cards that like I'm thinking that you can play in the deck, but I'm curious what to see what people with bigger IQs and bigger brains do versus what I would do.
We'll have to wait for other people to upload. But in the meantime, Rob, thank you so much for coming on the channel. It was a fun conversation having with you as always. I'm very excited to see what exactly we are going to be getting in this upcoming meta. I mean, essentially, it looks like Sky Striker getting a big boost. The Swordsoul deck's becoming a lot more reliable and relying on some of the top meta decks, so we'll see maybe that resurgence as well. And then Branded, of course, doing very, very well with essentially being able to do the exact same plays with the exact same deck. Just take out one trap card, slap in an Upstart Goblin, and call it a day. But let me know what you guys think of this ban list in the comment section down below. If you guys did enjoy these types of conversations, sit down, so make sure you leave a like and make sure you subscribe, guys. We have a lot of content coming up. We have Market Watch tomorrow. Deck profiles, Super Heavy Samurai, Sky Striker are the first ones you already know, and then we'll see what else comes from there. But let me know what you guys think. Again, comment section down below, subscribe for more, and we'll see you guys in the next one.